So, do your kids need to volunteer? Yes, they do. They need to volunteer for themselves and for you. It has lots of positive benefits, and I'm going to give 4 today. I'm going to start off first with the kids. Always start with the kids. But number 4 is a benefit for us as parents. It's a cool benefit, so stick around to the end if you'd like to hear about that. I also have 2 really inspiring stories of young people in our community and what they've been doing to affect change. Doing some volunteering on their own, making stuff up, really cool. Now, if you like these ideas, tap on the little subscribe icon and also tap on the little bell. I do a parenting video on many different topics. This is just one, volunteering, every week, and it'll come automatically to you. Now, we all know that volunteering is good. We know what it means, but let's just do a very, very quick definition. So volunteering is something that's done to help someone in need. It can also be something that helps with an overall community benefit, something that helps our community be a better place to live. Now, volunteering opportunities are basically everywhere. It could be the gentleman down the street who's become too old to rake his leaves and needs a little bit of help, or someone in your neighborhood that's a shut-in and they're lonely. They need some company, or maybe tutoring some younger kids at school. The opportunities, if you look for them, are really, really endless. So let's dive into these 4 different benefits. Number one, it helps our kids to build social skills and life skills. And what do we want our kids to do but to build social skills and life skills? Those are some of the highest priority goals that we have as parents. One of the best ways I can illustrate these life skills and social skills is to go to these 2 examples that I mentioned. First example, 11-year-old girl lives in our community, and she has 2 passions. One of her passions is photography. She does beach photos and stuff like that, very talented. Her other passion is cleaning up the waterways. We have a lot of waterways in our community, some of which are not quite as clean as they should be. So she had this kind of crazy idea. Maybe she could take her photography, these beach scenes and still lives and things like this, print them out on cards, sell the cards, and raise money for waterway cleanup efforts in the community. And to her credit, her parents really, really encouraged her in this. Wait a minute, I think I have one of her cards. Actually, I only have one of her cards left, which is kind of a beach scene with a little bit of a driftwood thing going on, something like that. But I see on the back of it, she's put her name, but just her first name, keeping the kids safe. But it says dominogooddeeds.com, dominogooddeeds.com. I'm not promoting her. She doesn't know anything about this. I'm just very, very impressed with her. But getting back to what she's doing. So she started doing this. It kind of took off a little bit. And then she decided to start getting these tables and booths, like at local craft shows, local fairs, things like this. And she got quite a setup. She built this signage that showed what the waterways calls was. She had displays. She had our cards printed out. You would see that she would be there with a friend of hers that she had kind of drafted or persuaded to come from school. Learning experience for that person as well. Parents would be there somewhere in the distance, kind of hovering a little bit just to make sure everything was safe and everything was cool. She even had an iPad with one of these little square readers where you could run a credit card through. Very, very impressive activity. And if you talk to this person, she knows so much. She's so articulate, so confident about this whole waterways issue and the work that she's doing. And to be frank, she has raised an awful lot of money. She has raised some real money for this cause. I'm using this as an example of social skills and life skills. So obvious social skills. She's talking to people all the time. She's interacting with them. She's explaining a need that's really fairly complex. And when you talk to this person, she's just very, very impressive with her demeanor and her confidence and how she explains this whole issue and how she feels passionate about it. But think also about the life skills. She's come up with an idea, just kind of a little idea, and she's turned it into something real that's kind of changing the world, that's making our waterways a little bit cleaner. In the meantime, she's learned how to do signage. She's learned how to design displays and do all these cards, improve her photography. She's learned how to run a bank account for the money that comes in through some of these credit card and debit card purchases. It's just really an impressive life skill activity. So she has gotten, obviously, quite a bit out of this, and her parents have as well. Now, if you find this to be an inspiring story, as I did, tap on the share icon. Send it to somebody that's a friend of yours or a family member or somebody you know who might be interested in a volunteering effort like this with their children. Now, the other story I have is a little bit shorter, a little more compact, took place over probably about a 2 or 3 week period of time. There was a kid, 17 years old, at the high school, and he found out that one of the food shelters was running low, really low, on a lot of the supplies that they need for the food insecure. So he got an idea. He's very active on social media, and he decided, I'll reach out locally to my friends in social media, have them reach out, talk to them about this issue, and say, hey, we're trying to get together some money for some donations so we can all go to the store in a big caravan, buy the things that this food pantry needs, and we're just going to take it over and resupply them. And it really, really actually worked. He got in the newspaper. That's how I know this story. And he really successfully helped them to resupply. So, interesting story. 17-year-old kid gets an idea, and using social media, he ends up feeding people that are hungry. That is really changing the world a little bit. And imagine the experiences that he's pulling away from that. And this is another example of how volunteering can build life skills. He's learned how to motivate and organize a group, find a need, find out what the need is, and satisfy it. That's just a tremendous life skill that I think he'll remember forever. Now, benefit number 2, volunteering helps kids to find their place in the world. So as our kids get older, they start to realize, the world is not a perfect place. They're exposed to this through the news, through the internet, etc. Driving through communities that maybe don't look as safe as theirs, they become aware of this. Kids learn that there are people in and out of their community that have different needs. And sometimes, and we're lucky when this happens as parents, sometimes our kids will come to us and they'll want to help. They'll want to become a change agent for some improvement in the community. They want to be able to help others. When this happens, it's a great thing for us to encourage as parents. Try to push our kids forward a little bit. Give them the kind of resources that they need in order to find out how they could help. What kind of activities might be available? What kind of activity might they be able to create that would be safe for them, but also be a help to some of these people in need? It can start small, and as I gave in that earlier example, it can grow to be something fairly substantial. Volunteering in this way can demonstrate to a young person something really substantial, and that is that in some small way, they can actually affect positive change in the world. Say that you have a child who is in high school and they're great at math, and they're teaching somebody in middle school that's having a little bit of a problem with math. When that child in middle school starts to get improved test scores, and they start to see that smile and that building confidence, that is a real affirmation that you can actually be a change agent for good in the world. It's a very powerful thing to learn. Number 3 benefit for kids. Volunteering fosters the development of empathy. Now, we know when kids are young, they don't seem to possess a lot of empathy, usually. I've seen a few exceptions to this, but not a whole lot. They kind of want to do what they want to do, the way they want to do it, when they want to do it. Not a whole lot of consideration for others. But here's the thing. As kids get older, it's important, it's really important that they do develop a sense of empathy for others. Face it, it's very difficult to be in a work environment and be a team player without some empathy. It can be difficult to develop friendship relationships without much empathy. And it's especially difficult to develop a relationship in which you have a partner and both care about each other. So empathy is a really powerful thing that we need to encourage the development of as parents. Volunteering is one key way of doing that. So how does volunteering do this? Well, volunteering puts us into situations that are unfamiliar to us. It puts us into contact with people that may not have all the privileges we have, obviously. They might be financially insecure or food insecure. They might have health issues. All of these things, when you're volunteering, you're interacting with people one-on-one, you're right there, it just simply tends to improve and develop a sense of empathy. Now, there's also an aspect to volunteering that can be a little bit challenging, right? I mean, it can put kids into situations that can be a little bit awkward, can be a little bit uncomfortable. You're meeting new people. You're meeting people that might be health challenged or have some other challenges that they're dealing with. You're developing relationships. And our kids need our help and our encouragement in working through some of these things. So one thing that I recommend is when your child does come back from some sort of volunteering activity, always check up on them. Great place to do this is over dinner. Ask them how their volunteering activity went during that day. What happened with your day? How was it when you met with so-and-so? Get them to talk about it. You know, they may be seeing situations that are uncomfortable, that they need to put into a context with their life. And we can help them do that as parents by just helping them to sort through some of the things that they're seeing and some of the things that they're experiencing. Now, number four is the benefit for us as parents. Yes, we get a benefit from this. We get a benefit from this effort. And I'll put it into a simple one-word benefit: appreciation. When our children volunteer and they go out and they become aware of some of these other life situations that they're not familiar with, it can put their life into a different context. It's a wonderful thing when your children say to you, as mine did, you know what, I didn't realize that my school was such a great school. Or, you know, I really love the neighborhood that you and Mom moved us into. This was something that came out in high school, and we had never heard these things before. As a matter of fact, I will say it took a little while to get used to it, but you just love hearing this, because as parents, of course, what do we work on more than anything else but providing the best opportunities, the best environment that we can for our kids? But as parents, we kind of want them to not take this for granted. We want them to understand, you know, we're working really hard to live in this neighborhood so you can go to this good school and have a safe environment and nice kids to play with and stuff like that. So when we got this appreciation back, it really was nice. It's nice to a parent's ears to be appreciated by their kids. So encourage your kids to engage in some volunteering activities when they do get to the appropriate age. It has a lot of benefits for them. And as I mentioned, it also has a benefit from us, but it does really help them to grow and see a bigger world outside of the bubble that we sometimes seem to live in. I hope you found something useful in this video for your family. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.